Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Dave Carley with Entrepreneur MD on the GCTV network. I'm joined by my better half, Zoe Bedford. Say hello to everyone, Zoe.
Hey, everyone.
So Zoe's going to be helping me out with some of the fitness pieces, and I've invited her to talk a little bit about nutrition and simplifying nutrition. As we approach Thanksgiving, one of the unhealthiest eating days of the entire year, we thought, what a better time to talk about nutrition than that. So thank you for being here, Zoe.
You're welcome.
So we want to talk about simplifying nutrition, and as with anything, when we talk about exercise, we talk about supplementation, we talk about all the things we're posting on, integrating this, making it a part of your life or your lifestyle becomes a critical element. Okay, it's something that you got to do every day. It's not a 2-week process or an 8-week process or a 1-month process. It's something you got to make a habit and make something that's part of your life every day. So Turkey Day, Thanksgiving.
Lay off the casseroles.
Well,
be careful.
See, here's where we differ a little bit. I think you should enjoy those holiday traditions, enjoy those family recipes. Portion control becomes an important element. It's not what you do on one day of the year. Enjoy Thanksgiving within reason, but also it's what you do with the other 364 days out of the year. So portion control becomes important. As a general rule, we like to break meals down into smaller, more frequent meals. And Zoe and I are going to go through these different categories of what we think you should be eating and shouldn't be eating, but keep it super simple. Super simple is the key. So I'll start with protein and then I'll have you take over, Zoe. So protein is where we really want you to base the foundation of your diet. Lean meats, your poultries, fish, and red meat is not bad. If it's lean cuts of red meat, those are good for you. They're great sources of iron for women. Probably the most bang for your buck in terms of protein. So lean meats, organic omega-3 based eggs are great. I eat a lot of eggs, don't eat all of the yolks. So in the morning I'll eat 5 eggs, but only 2 yolks. So the rest we'll use as egg whites. So lean meats, eggs, and then supplementation is an important piece with protein. Sometimes, especially if you're into a lot of training, we'll have to supplement with a little protein powder. We're going to do some information on protein powders and protein bars and those types of things. But we want you to really base the foundation of your diet on protein. So you're the veggie queen. I'm going to let you handle veggies.
And for protein, for if you are a vegetarian or a vegan, then obviously make sure that you see fit to where that fits into you. If you're not eating meat, then you do need to be supplementing eggs. If you're not eating eggs, then you need to find the legumes that are going to be high protein enough for you. Do make sure that you're adding in fiber in that regard as well. And so for veggies, I really focus on a ketogenic diet. So my balance is about 40% protein, 40% fat, and then I supplement in tons of veggies. The heartier, the leafy, the kales, there's very different kinds and flavors nowadays. Cauliflower, broccoli, they're all really, really good sources of vitamins and minerals. They can be eaten as raw snacks. They can also be sauteed or oven roasted, which is really great as well. And then you can always add in seasonings. So really start to play around with seasonings. I do want to implement one thing too. There's been a lot of data that's come out recently that has shown us that salt is not as bad as we thought, but that does not mean go over the top with salt. But do add in some, especially if you're a man. It is a catalyst to testosterone, so it is really important for you to be able to have that. Also, it's really good for helping you stay hydrated as well. So make sure you know those things. Do season those veggies with a little bit of that. And then
also we can use there's carbohydrates in vegetables, especially thicker vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower. So we actually get some of our carbohydrate from vegetables. And it's also a great way to stay full. Eating big, robust vegetables like broccoli, for example, can reduce your sensation of being hungry. So frequently eating those types of things can kind of curb hunger to some degree. So we talked about protein, talked about veggies. Have at the veggies. I don't know too many people that say you can't eat too many veggies. I guess there is such a thing, but be liberal with your veggies. And we want you to get a lot of your calories from healthy fats.
This is really important. Fat is not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, agreed. Healthy fats that are omega-3 based, so your nuts and your oils like olive oil or coconut oil, avocados, olives. What are some other sources?
Well, those are really great ones because I think those are pretty easy. You can always grab them on the run. This is where people get really confused and they say that dieting, we're going to ixnay on the whole dieting thing. This is really altering and shifting into a lifestyle. These are things that you can literally find in convenience stores and bags of nuts. Just make sure there's not too many other flavors or too high of a salt content, things like that. But I think this is a really, really good base. You can find these pretty much anywhere.
So that's going to be your foundation: protein, veggies, and your calories from healthy fats. Those are really the foundations of whether you call it paleo or modified paleo or ketogenic diet. They're all variants of the same thing, where we base our diet on those three things. Now let's talk about the other things, the carbohydrates and the sugar. So carbs, I've been called into question. Some people really push that we should eliminate carbs almost entirely. And for certain purposes that can be useful, especially from a body composition perspective. Some carbs are good, especially if you're training and exercising regularly. But if you're going to take carbs, we want to try to load those up in the morning time. What we don't want is a lot of carbohydrate in the evening with your dinner or as an evening snack or before bedtime. We really want to limit this. We want to avoid the processed carbohydrates. This is your pastas. This is your breads. You know what carbs are. Don't tell me you don't know what carbs are. You do. We need to limit those things, especially going into the holiday season. And then your starchy vegetables or potatoes or things like that are carbohydrates. Now, some types of starches, or if you go more towards like sweet potatoes or some other things, can be good.
So simple and complex sugars, obviously one gets broken down faster than the other. And then also, we'll talk more later about it, but the glycemic index, there's higher and there's lower foods on those. Those are good and bad, and your body processes them very differently. So typically we just try to tell you stay away from anything that's white. So the white breads, the white potatoes, the white rices, things like that. And then also a good reference point is treat the grocery store like a horseshoe. So anything on the outside is typically where you're finding your milks and your eggs and your meats and your veggies. Anything on the inside is all the boxed stuff and all the processed foods. Anything that is processed is loaded with additional salt, and it's loaded with additional various different forms of sugar. And your body does not know how to distinguish the difference among some of those things. So it just loads it up and it stores it.
As a general rule, if it's made from man, probably try to avoid it and stick with the organic or natural foods as much as you can, right? So sugars, sorry guys, sugar's out. There's just really no significant useful purpose for it in the diet that we can't get from other sources. So this is our SOS, right? This is our emergency. We want to get the sugars out. If you can do one thing and one thing only, it's to get rid of and reduce your sugar intake dramatically. This is your soda. This is your energy drinks if you're relying on those to fuel your energy throughout the day. Coffee, if you're putting sugar in your coffee, let's get it out. Learn to drink it black. Is there such a thing as healthy sugar? No.
So data has shown significantly that we, for a long time, for probably 3 or 4 decades, we thought that salt was the worst thing. And we're now seeing and showing that cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer in men, and it hasn't shifted that much. And what we're really starting to see is sugar is actually really the catalyst to a lot of those problems and related. So I'm on a ketogenic diet, so I'm very, very specific. No, sugar is not good. Even in bowls of blueberries and strawberries and bananas and grapes and all of these things, sometimes we think that those are really good supplements when you're cutting out some other stuff, like the pastas and like the processed sugars. And then all of a sudden you've eaten 2 bananas, which has over 60 grams of sugar in it. You've had a bunch of grapes, which has another 30 grams of sugar in it. And then you've had bowls of various different kinds of fruit and apples and things like that. So no, I don't think that a natural sugar is good. It needs to really be limited, and it really should, if you are going to eat fruit, it really needs to be focused on the berry blend. So the raspberries, the blackberries, the blueberries, because they're really high in antioxidants. Please, if you cut any kind of fruit out, it's a banana and it's grapes. They're the 2 highest sugar count fruits.
And not to say that there aren't good things in those fruits, and one of the interesting areas of supplementation research is how to get the good things of fruit into supplement form while taking out the sugar and the other good things. Also fiber in fruits, other good things. So it's not that fruit is all bad. Again, if you're going to use fruit, tend to weigh that in the morning time. As you're getting going early on in the day, the berry categories tend to be better in terms of spiking insulin. Separate talk, separate issue. So we wanted to go through kind of the basics. Here are the basics, what you need to know going into Thanksgiving and binging. Lifestyle changes. We want your diet to be based on proteins, vegetables, and healthy fats. And we want to start to limit and minimize the carbs, especially the complex carbs, your breads, your pastas, And your sugars, we want to take those out as much as possible. I love sugar too. I love chocolate cake. I love sweets. I love all those things. I got to do it too. Sorry, that's the way it is. If you want to look better, feel better, be healthier, we got to get the sugars out. So thank you, Zoe, for being here. Going into the holidays, go enjoy the holidays. Go enjoy your family. Portion control. Let's keep those portions to a minimum, but go enjoy it, okay? It's the one day of the year where you're with your family, you're celebrating those traditions. Go have fun with it. The rest of the time, you're mine, you're Zoe's. But once you're following this, it's going to make you healthier, it's going to give you more energy, it's going to give you the drive to promote those businesses, build them up the way you want.
And remember too, building your business is a lifestyle as well. You're focusing on creating your brand, you're focusing on people getting to know you and your products and your services. You need to think of your diet as the same thing. It's a lifestyle as well. Stop referring to it as a diet, because so many people say, oh, it's the new year, it's time to start dieting again. So what that infers is that it's something that you start and stop. A lifestyle should be something that you live. So really start focusing on the shift of the diet, get that out of your vocabulary in regards to eating, and make little simple changes, but do them over and over and over until you really become that really becomes your lifestyle that you're living on a daily basis. It's not, and you should be able to enjoy it. I mean, food is good.
Yep, I agree. So once you make these changes, you'll find it's not as hard as you think. So start with the basics, start to reduce those carbs, start to get that sugar out, and keep going with it. Keep going with it. Your body composition will change. You're going to be psyched. You're going to be happy. You're going to look great. So from us to you, happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. Use these tools, guys. Let's get you healthy. Preneur Fit.
Preneur Fit.
Preneur Fit. Happy
Gobble,
holidays,
gobble,
guys. Thank you. Have a good Thanksgiving. Bye.
See you all.